What's up, Forward family? It's FortWorthFabian, Big Boss Fable, back with a video for the channel. And today I'm reacting to some sad news. Mass shooting at Texas elementary school kills at least 15. So, 2 days before the start of summer break, 18-year-old man opened fire at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas on Tuesday, killing 14 students and one teacher. Governor Greg Abbott said Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District Police Chief Pete Arredondo said there were multiple injuries from a mass casualty incident at Robb Elementary in Uvalde. The gunman is believed to have acted alone and is dead, he said. Arredondo declined to provide further details or take questions. The suspected shooter is from Uvalde, Abbott said, and he has been identified as Salvador Ramos, according to the officials. So, sad news, man. This is breaking news, trending news as of now. Mass shooting seems to have happened. And it's not always the best news, but I do take time to react to the positive and the negative in hopes that, we can, spread a message of love in the midst of all the negativity going on. So prayers out to the family, prayers out to those who passed, during this tough time, condolences and, keep your head up, in the sense of, try to hold your head high. I know these are very dark times, but, prayers are going out to you guys and much love being sent y'all's way, man. It's just crazy that this is the day and age we live in, to where people are targeting elementary schools for mass shootings. I mean, nobody should be targeted for a mass shooting in general, but why are kids the focus? Why is the youth the focus? I'm just lost here, and maybe this segment can provide some additional details, but I highly doubt it. They tend to keep these things vague until more information rolls out. But let me know y'all's thoughts on this one in the comment section down below.
We are following the breaking news out of Texas, and it is heartbreaking news. 14 students and one teacher are dead, killed after a shooting at an elementary school in Uvalde, Texas, just west of San Antonio. That is according to Texas Governor Greg Abbott. According to Governor Abbott, the gunman is also dead. Abbott saying that the 18-year-old abandoned his vehicle and entered Robb Elementary School with a handgun. He may also have had a rifle of some sort. I want to bring in Charles Ramsey, CNN senior law enforcement analyst, former Philadelphia Police Commissioner, and former Chief of Police here in Washington, D.C. Chief Ramsey, thanks for joining us. First of all, I know you're a dad. What's your reaction, not as a law enforcement official, but as a dad, when you hear stories like this?
Well, I'm a grandfather now. So, I mean, you hear things like this. I got a granddaughter who is about to begin kindergarten. So, I mean, obviously, this is something that we should not even be talking about. I mean, this is
Facts.
absolutely crazy. And what's even crazier is the fact that nothing's going to be done about it. Absolutely nothing.
What can be done, bro? I mean, the individual is dead. He's passed away. There's always going to be another school shooter somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? What can be done? A lot of these school shooters come from broken homes, damaged families. That obviously they've gone through some type of trauma. Who knows what it is? It's not like you can point the finger and pinpoint. A lot of people come from situations that really, affect their way of thought, their thought process. And, they have a lot of anger built up and they want to kind of like exact that on other people. So I don't see how this is something that'll be like, you can actually phrase as there's nothing that will be done about it, as if you can place the blame somewhere.
I listened to the governor of Texas. That's the same governor that was very proud to sign legislation that he says is protecting the unborn. Well, what about the kids that are already here, Governor? What are you going to do to protect them? What about the 14 we lost today? What about the 20 we lost to Sandy Hook?
Okay.
I mean, when is it
I see what he's saying now. It's more so, I think, more so about the gun laws.
going to end? Instead of all this chest pounding about, they're passing this legislation, to protect the unborn, and we do nothing to protect the ones that are already here. At some point in time, we have to all just say, that's enough. It's enough. It's got to end. And it's not going to end because our dysfunctional Congress can't get anything done. People have to rise up and say that's enough. Throw these people out of office that refuse to do anything and really take control and save our kids, because this is what's happening every single day on the streets of our cities. Not mass shootings, one, two, three, four at a time. People are dropping as a result of gun violence. And so, if I sound frustrated, it's only because I am.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a cogent point, because it is true that while we cover mass shootings just because of the scale of the horror, we lose, hundreds of individuals every week to gun violence, mostly to suicide, but not exclusively to suicide. About a third of the gun violence of every week is homicide or accidental shootings. What, as a law enforcement official, do you think should be done about this? What can be done to keep firearms out of the hands of individuals who would use them for harming individuals and not for hunting or self-defense?
Well, there's a couple things. First of all, I'm not anti-Second Amendment, but I do believe there has to be some controls and some restrictions to at least minimize the opportunity for people that should not have guns to get a hold of guns. But then, if people do use guns to commit crimes, we have to do something with them. It's not just the gun; it's the people who use guns to commit crime. And we've got a situation in our country now where we've got some prosecutors that don't even want to prosecute for illegal possession of a firearm.
My thing is guns, bruh. You don't need to have some type of, legality in terms of the law. I legally obtained a firearm in the right way, bro. It's gonna happen regardless. Kids off the streets getting guns like it's nothing, like it's clockwork. So, I mean, I don't really think that's the solution. You could crack down on certain laws, because even when the laws weren't, as loose prior, were maybe a bit more strict, were kids still getting guns? Yes, a lot of kids can still get guns. They have access to these firearms. It doesn't have to be through a legal manner. There's always work being done under the table. People selling firearms. Black market, all type of stuff
or for putting people on an ankle bracelet that are in jail, charged with murder or aggravated assault or something like that. I mean, we've got to look at the entire system and get serious about this, because it's not going to stop on its own. It's not going to stop as a result of thoughts and prayers and candlelight vigils. If we don't take control of this, and if we don't do something as a country, then we're going to be having this conversation over and over again. It's just a question of when and where. That's all. Just when and where.
If you're just tuning in at the half hour here, 5:32, there has been another mass shooting in the United States, this one at an elementary school in Texas, in a town called Uvalde, just west of San Antonio. The governor of Texas announcing roughly an hour or so ago that the shooter, 18, is dead, and the shooter, before he was killed, and it appears that he was killed by law enforcement, killed 14 elementary school children and a teacher. Law enforcement right now trying to figure out what possible connection he had to the Robb Elementary School. Ed Levendera is following this breaking and heartbreaking story for us.
That's probably where he went to
live
school
in
at
Texas.
as
Ed, tell us
a
more.
kid.
Well, Jake, this is supposed to be the last week of school for public school students across much of the state of Texas. So this coming in the last days of a school year, as if this wasn't already horrific enough, adds another layer of desperate sadness to what we are seeing unfold there in the city of Uvalde, Texas, a small town, as you mentioned, just west of San Antonio. We were told early on that there was cavalry of law enforcement vehicles that had shown up there at the scene, including Border Patrol and state troopers as well. The governor just a short while ago mentioning that 14 of the 15 victims were children. Also just a short while ago, local officials there holding a brief update on the situation. They did not confirm the numbers that Governor Abbott has been saying, only to say that there were a number of students.
Talk about being ready to go, man. It's like, you This is how you want to go out. All right, I'm gonna kill some elementary school kids and just get taken out by the police force. You must be. I don't know what kind of mindset kids got to be in, or this 18-year-old was in to be at this point. You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes you would never know. Like the Columbine shootings. Them kids putting on a front. Of course, I think there was one more in particular that was putting on a front that his family couldn't tell that there was anything wrong with him. So it's like, it's crazy because you would never know.
And adults that were injured and some deaths. They did not give specific numbers there locally, but they also did say that this Robb Elementary is a school with second, third, and fourth graders inside the school. So that gives you some idea of the age range that we're looking at when we start learning about the victims that were killed senselessly today in Uvalde. Jake?
All right, Ed Lavandera, thank you so much. Charles Ramsey is still with me. I want to bring back Andrew McCabe, the former FBI Deputy Director, and Anthony Barksdale, former acting Baltimore Police Commissioner, as well as Juliette Kayyem, CNN National Security Analyst and a former Assistant Secretary at the Department of Homeland Security. Andrew, I've heard it said that after Sandy Hook, when the country decided that the slaughter of 20 5- and 6-year-olds wasn't enough to prompt any serious federal action, although we should note Connecticut did pass some gun restrictions. But the larger point that after Sandy Hook, when the Congress failed to do anything to pass any new legislation to keep firearms out of the hands of dangerous individuals, that was it. That was the signal.
They act like that's so just transparent. He's a dangerous guy. Let's keep firearms out of his hand. Bro, it's not easy to tell every time. So it's like, that's why you can't pin it. You can't really just be able to say, all right, this is what we need to do. Nah, bro, it's not that simple. No matter how many restrictions you put on the gun laws, like, or on, gun, whatever, just being able to bear arms. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing you can do about that, in my opinion. And it's not coming from a dire place. It's the reality we live in. Let's be logical, bro. How many guns will you be able to fully get off the street? Not all of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, but then again, it's crazy because a lot of the street guys aren't the ones killing or shooting up schools. It's always some weirdo kid who never had a dad in his life, or, growing up in a single parent household, snaps one day, he shoots up a school. You never see, like, what y'all would call street people. You know what I'm saying? It don't even got to be gang bangers or gang association. Just people who, deal in the inner city, deal in the streets. They're never doing stuff like this. It's only the weirdos. They gotta obtain some type of weapon and go shoot up the school.
He slaughtered 5-year-olds and 6-year-olds was the United States saying, that's okay, we can deal with that.
Sure. And I mean, that's a reasonable thing to say, right? Because clearly it wasn't. The slaughter of 20 elementary school children in Connecticut in 2012 wasn't enough to get anything done, nor was it enough when it happened in Florida at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, nor was it enough when it happened a few months ago in Michigan. And, the question is, will it be enough after today's slaughter in Texas? There's really very little reason to hope that it will be. There are many, many things that we could do, any number of which may or may not have had any effect.
That's crazy, bro, man. Prayers out to these families. It's just to, like, you send your kid off to school one morning, you come find out they ain't making it back home. That'd be some crazy stuff, bro. Can't even imagine. You know what I'm saying? But that's the world we live in today. Nowhere is safe. Nowhere.
This particular tragedy, but I would propose, Jake, that much in the same way that this country came together and rallied around our responsibilities in the wake of the terrorist attacks on 9/11, after those attacks, we didn't just do one thing that we thought might have stopped the 9/11 attack. We did everything that we could think of to make this country safer. And I would propose that that's the way our country should think about this tragic wave of gun violence and innocent death. We should be doing everything that could possibly have an impact on stopping the next mass shooter. There are many ways that we could change our gun control laws. We could change the way we do background checks in this country. We can make them more effective. We could have better controls.
My thing is, how can you tell if somebody's mentally unstable? They could appear away on the outside. They could have the cleanest record. He's able to secure a firearm. Okay, then what? Like, we got to make our background checks way more thorough. A lot of criminals, first-time criminals, had a clean, they didn't have a prior record. It's not just people who have bad records to where you can just classify, all right, this is a bad person, so that means that they shouldn't have a firearm.
Over the sale of guns, private sales, gun shows, all sorts of things that most people agree to. But for, it is next to impossible, maybe it is impossible, to get our elected representatives to actually act on any of that sentiment and desire across the population.
So some of the new information trickling in right now, the police chief of the school district says that the belief is right now that this shooter, this 18-year-old who is now deceased, the belief is that he acted alone. Commissioner Barksdale, let me ask you, Governor Abbott, the governor of Texas, now says that it's being reported that the suspect shot his grandmother before he went to Robb Elementary and committed this horrific slaughter. What do you make of this as a law enforcement official?
Well, numerous times before people set off on a spree, often there's a first victim. And unfortunately, it sounds like this was his grandmother. And that's, it's just tragic all the way around. But something that can be done at this point in time is to start really focusing on were there any signs that he was going to do this. And that's going to be part of the investigation. Was he one who had mental health issues or certain communications on the internet? So there's a lot of work to be done here, but it's going to have to be done methodically, and this is going to take a little time. But I don't know if I'm so quick to just shut down, hey, the person's alone. I don't know if we're I still feel it's a little immature at this point to make just clear statements about if an individual was alone or not.
Yeah, no, sure.
A lot of work to be done.
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously all of the information coming in right now is early information. That was the police superintendent, I believe, for the school district saying that that's the belief. But who knows if that is the fact. As of now, we certainly do not know.
What's up, folks? So that right there, you have it, man. School shooting, man. Uvalde, Texas, man. 15 dead. So prayers out to the family. Oh, man, tragic, man. It's sad. It's just, these are kids, man. They got the whole life ahead of them. Like, what is the point to take out a kid? And to take out a person in general. I don't condone violence. I don't condone murder. So, yeah, man, let me know y'all's thoughts on this one in the comment section below. Just a saddening, heartening day, to, pretty much, I didn't even hear about this all day. I'm not sure when the news was exactly released, but I came home and kind of, obviously scrolled through content and was able to see the news. So, once again, prayers out to the families, to ones they lost, man. Definitely praying for strength and guidance and, joy, not joy, but be able to have refound joy, what I'm saying, over time, and just to be strong during this time and to be able to be at peace, so that's all I can really say, man. Let me know y'all's thoughts on this one in the comments. Yeah, man. Peace.